Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. This is Shaila Akhtar, Assistant Professor English. This class is intended for the students of class 11 on English first paper, and our today's topic is collected from Unit 2, Lesson 2. And the topic of our today's class is Science and Technology Against an Age-Old Disease. Learning outcome from this class. That means whatever the students will come to learn after the class, the students will be able to answer MCQs and open-ended questions. They will be able to write summary. They will learn to make flowcharts, and they will be able to complete tables according to the question patterns. My dear students, here we have a selected part of the text entitled as Science and Technology Against an Age-Old Disease. Now I'm going to read aloud the part, and then I will make you understand how to answer the selected questions from this very passage. So let's start reading. When I started working on research and science of leprosy more than a decade ago, people thought this chronic infectious disease would eliminate itself and burn out over time. We didn't have time for that. Why? Nearly 250,000 new cases of leprosy are diagnosed every year, and many more go undetected. Approximately 10% of new cases occur in children. So let's try to remember some specific informations from this part of the passage, such as leprosy is a chronic infectious disease, and the common people thought that this disease would eliminate itself and burn out over time. And nearly 250,000 new cases of leprosy are being diagnosed every year, but many more remain undetected, and 10% of new cases occur in children. So let's see what about the other part of the passage says. Let's read again. Even though it's associated with biblical times, leprosy remains a problem in the modern era and was reported in 130 countries worldwide. It's most prevalent in a number of countries throughout Africa, Asia, and South America. Symptoms include progressive and permanent damage to the skin, nerves, limbs, and eyes, but they can take several years to appear, making the disease hard to diagnose at an early stage. So here the points to be noted are: leprosy was associated with biblical times. That means it's an ancient disease. And worldwide, 130 countries reported about leprosy as a problem, and we have to remember the three names, that means Africa, Asia and South America, and throughout these countries a number of countries report about predominant presence of leprosy. Symptoms of leprosy are always progressive and it causes permanent damage. And where this damage actually happens, these very disease attacks skin, nerves, limbs and eyes. But they can take several years to appear and it makes the diagnosis harder. Now our passage says, even worse, leprosy comes with a stigma. Stigma means some sort of marks which cause disgrace or shame. So unlike most other diseases, leprosy results in isolation, as people with leprosy are often shunned. The good news, however, is that we now have the key scientific solutions and momentum as well as collaborations to finally have the opportunity to eliminate leprosy. I couldn't have said this 10 years ago. So here we also have some important points to note. These are leprosy, the results of leprosy. That means leprosy can cause isolation for the sufferer and they are often shunned or left alone, and it causes shamefulness for the suffering person. The good news, however, is that we now have the key scientific solutions and momentum as well as collaborations. That means aids to have the opportunity to eliminate leprosy. That means the process is ongoing and maybe we can have the remedy. And I couldn't have said this 10 years ago. And the speaker is telling us that before 10 years it was not possible. Whatever is possible now. Okay, my dear students, we already have read the passage. Now let's try to answer the MCQs from the passage. So here I have the questions for you. The first one is, find out the similar word for symptom. Here we have four options. Let's try to know the meaning of the given options and select the right one from them. The very first word, syndrome, is a similar word to symptom. Now we have the very word creed, and creed is some sort of religious faith. And the third option is ideograph. So ideograph mainly some sort of symbols presenting ideas, not sounds, and you can consider as mathematical symbols. Those present some ideas but they cannot give some meaningful sounds. So these are ideograph, and symbol means sign. So here the similar word for symptom is syndrome. Now question number 2. Write down the meaning of stigma. So here we have the options. So first one is shame. Shame means, stigma means some sort of mark of disgrace. And shame, you know whatever shame is. Shame is actually the result from a disgrace also. And now the second option is stain. Stain means discolor with something. And now the third option is discolor, which actually is similar to stain. And blur. Blur means unclear or hazy. So here the meaning of the very word stigma is shame. Now question number 3. The question is, find out the meaning of therapy. So the options are symptom. So we can assume that symptom is not therapy. Then diagnosis. Diagnosis means identification of a disease through symptom. Now healing treatment, to treat the disease, to get rid of it. And then the fourth option is research. So the answer will be healing treatment. The meaning of the word therapy is healing treatment. Now question number 4. What is the synonym of chronic? So here we have 4 options again as usual. So the first option is eradicable. So eradicable actually the word derives from the word eradicate, which means to destroy. So eradicable means destroyable. Then the next option is incessant, which means uninterrupted or continual. Then comes the third option, that is occasional. Occasional means something done irregularly. And then the fourth option is rotated. And rotated means when something is moving or moved in a circle. So the chronic synonym for the word chronic is incessant, because incessant means uninterrupted or continual. Now, question number 5. What does the word infectious mean? So, infectious means actually contagious. But we have to know the meaning of the other 3 options also. So, to make you learn, I am going to mention the meaning of the other options. So, firstly, remember infectious means contagious. So, the meaning is here. Now, the second option is anodyne. Anodyne means something inoffensive. And now, the third option is detrimental. Detrimental means harmful. And the fourth option is pernicious. And pernicious means damaging or harmful. So infectious means contagious, and contagious means infectious. Now the question number 6. What does the word prevalent mean? The meaning of the word prevalent. Here the options are defeated, thwarted, foiled, and dominant. So defeated means to beat something or somebody or win over a battle. And thwart means actually prevent, and thwarted means prevented somebody from something. Foiled, the very word foiled means also prevented. And dominant means presiding or ruling or prevailing. So the very word prevalent means dominant. Now the next question is, which of the following is an antonym of the word shunned? So try to notice one thing, that is here the question is seeking for antonym of the word shunned. So here the very word is shun and the first form is shunned. So let's see what about the options mean. So here the given options are, the first one is cast out. So cast out means to get rid of somebody, trying to get rid of somebody. And now ignored. Ignored means to disregard. And the next word is banished. Banished means exiled or sent somebody away from the country because of some misdeed. And then the very word mingled. Mingled means mixed together. So actually the word shun means cast out, ignored or banished. Everything. That means letting somebody alone. So the antonym of shunned will be mingled. And the next question is question number 8, and the question is the word momentum refers to. So here the options are, the first one is drive, then frustration, then foil, and then rush. So momentum means quantity of motion, and it's a scientific term. And to move somebody because of motion, whenever somebody is moving because of the motion, some quantity of motion can be considered through momentum. So here the first option is drive, that means to move something. Then frustration. Frustration means some kind of feeling of being upset. And foil. Foil means prevent. And then rush. Rush means whenever somebody is in a hurry or sprint. So the word momentum refers to drive. Now the next question. Even worse, leprosy dash a stigma. So can you remember the line from the text? The line was, even worse, leprosy comes with a stigma. So here you have nothing to guess or alternate. Rather, you have to use the specific word which you get from the text. So the word is comes with. Even worse, leprosy comes with a stigma. Now, question number 10. It's dash in a number of countries throughout Africa, Asia and South America. So here also we have to use the word from the text, and the word was most prevalent, and the sentence was, it's most prevalent in a number of countries throughout Africa, Asia and South America. So the answer will be most prevalent. Now let's practice how to answer open-ended questions. Whenever answering open-ended questions, you have freedom to collect information from the given passage, but you have scope to arrange them accordingly using your own knowledge of language. So here we have two questions. Let's see how we can answer them. The first one is, what is leprosy? So you can answer in this way. Leprosy is a contagious disease. It attacks the skin, mucous membranes and nerves. It causes discoloration and lumps on the skin. In severe cases, it occurs with disfigurement and deformities. Now, the second question. Why is it hard to diagnose leprosy at an early age? And we can answer this way. The question is, why is it hard to diagnose leprosy at an early age? So, let's answer in this way. Some of the symptoms of leprosy are progressive and permanent damage to the skin, nerves, limbs, and eyes. These symptoms can take several years to appear. As a result, it can be hard to diagnose at an early stage. Now, summarizing the passage. So, whenever you are to summarize a passage, you have to keep in mind one thing, that is, the summary must not be more than one third of the given passage. So, you have to keep the summary less than one third of the volume of the given passage. So, here I have made a summary for you of the given passage. So, in short, let's read aloud and try to understand the way I have made it. Leprosy is an ancient disease. It is found almost 130 countries. It has become dangerous in developing countries. It takes several years to appear the disease. It is also found among children. No one likes to mix with a leprosy affected patient. The patient suffers from isolation. The good news is we have some key solutions to this problem. Okay, now let's see how to make a flowchart. Here our question is, make a flowchart on the symptoms and effects of leprosy. So to understand it clearly, you can go back to the beginning of this video and read the passage again and then come back to this point. It will be helpful for you to know how to make a flowchart. Here the point is, we have to make the flowchart on the symptoms and effects of leprosy. The points are symptoms and effects, and we can find them in the given passage. So here the first one is always given for you. Whenever you will sit for the exam, you will have the first one made, and then you have to place the remaining 5 points of the flowchart. The first one is, the given one is, progressive and permanent damage to the skin. So this is one of the symptoms. So we can put here the other symptoms likewise. So the second one can be progressive and permanent damage to the nerve. Then the third symptom I have mentioned here, permanent damage to the eyes. I also could write here progressive and permanent damage to the eyes, but I have mentioned only permanent damage to the eyes. Then comes the point of effect. So whatever the person suffering from leprosy should go through or has to go through, that is the effect. So the cause of isolation. So leprosy is the cause of isolation for the sufferer. It makes the patient isolated. And the another effect is cause of stigma. It creates some sort of shame in the patient and cause of ill feeling, and eventually isolation and stigma keeps him in a feeling of ill. Now, information transfer. And this type of question will be presented before you during your exam hall. This way, read the passage and complete the table below with the given information, or you will be given simply the table to complete it. So this type of question is called information transfer. So let's see what the question is presenting for us. Here I have prepared this table for you using the given text, whatever I have read aloud earlier. So here you have three groups of words. Those are, the first column presents who or what. That means the subject of the sentence. The second column gives the activity or description about the subject, and the third column presents the information about where and when the activity happens. So let's see how we can answer this question. In the first sentence here, the very word is I. That means who, the person is I. Now here you will have to place some activity or description about this very word I, and then the time is mentioned. That means when, more than a decade ago. So I am reading aloud the sentence for you from the text. That is, when I started working on the research and science of leprosy more than a decade ago. So the sentence is, I started working on the research and science of leprosy more than a decade ago. So here I is given, but the activity and description is missing, and the missing part will be started working on the research and science of leprosy. So the answer of number 1 is started working on the research and science of leprosy. Now the second sentence, here the column of who or what, here we have a gap, and this is the dash number 2. So now who or what is missing. Now the description is, thought this chronic infectious disease would eliminate itself and burn out. Now the time when is overtime. So the sentence is, people thought this chronic infectious disease would eliminate itself and burn out over time. So here we can place the very word people in the place of who or what. So the second answer is people. Now the third sentence, here the information who or what is, nearly 250,000 new cases of leprosy, that means what, the subject, are diagnosed, description, dash, when or where. So the sentence is, nearly 250,000 new cases of leprosy are diagnosed every year. So the answer of the third dash is every year. Nearly 250,000 new cases of leprosy are diagnosed every year. The time, when, every year. Now line number 4, here we have a dash at the place of who or what, that means the subject is missing. Then the activity or description is occur in children, and the place of when or where is empty here. So the sentence from the text is, approximately 10% of new cases occur in children. So the dash number 4 will be filled up with approximately 10% of new cases now then occur in children. Now the fifth sentence is leprosy remains a problem in the modern era and was reported dash. So here the information will be about when or where. So the sentence from the text is leprosy remains a problem in the modern era and was reported in 130 countries worldwide. So the in the place of where, here we can use in 130 countries worldwide. So here we have the answers and I have written it down. Here is the answer of the table which I have mentioned already. The answer number 1 is started working on the research and science of leprosy. The second one is people. The third answer is every year. The fourth answer is approximately 10% of new cases. And the fifth answer is in 130 countries worldwide. So, my dear students, this is the way you can analyze a specific passage and find the answers for the MCQs and for the open-ended questions, and you can be prepared to write a summary from the passage, and you can pick the information to make a flowchart, and you also can pick the information to use in the table of information transfer. So this is how we can help you to get prepared for the exam. So this is all for today. We will meet again with another class with another topic. Till then, stay home, stay safe. Thank you.